Okay, so in this video we're going to look at the first property investment for a brand new property investor. What were the pitfalls? What went right? What went wrong? What were the challenges? Was it all worth it? That is what we want to know. So if you would like to get involved with the wonderful world of property investment, watch this video right through to the end, and then you tell me in the comments at the end whether you think this was worth it. Jude, how old are you?
13.
In terms of doing exactly what his dad told him not to do, let's go and get Jude.
Right, so here we are, we stood in what was this cellar's.
All right, so the investor is here now. We're going to see him coming up the road in a minute, but I want to just tell you this first. We are going to introduce him to another Paul, the wonderful project manager that managed this project for him. So here he is.
Hey, my name's Paul Lupton, I'm the project manager for this project. I've refurbed over 7,000 properties and probably never one for somebody as young as this. So we're just handing the keys over to our property investor.
Thank you.
Okay, so you might be thinking, where are we? We're in Doncaster. But where in Doncaster? Number 14 Beckett Road, so pretty much smack dab in the middle of Doncaster. If you look at the property from the front, it looks like a sort of typical red brick, 2 up, 2 down, but there you'd be mistaken. But come over here, have a look out the window. Well, this actually is the ground floor from the front, but look, there's another floor down there. So it's actually from the back, it's 3 stories high, so it's more like a townhouse. It's kind of built into the hillside, and more of that later. But what I want to do is introduce you to the investor, and let's quiz him, shall we? So, come over here, Mr. Investor, and introduce yourself. Okay, so, what's your name?
I'm Jude Smith.
Okay, how do you feel about social distancing, coronavirus, lockdown, and all that stuff?
It's been weird.
Okay, but we can still do this, can't we?
Yeah,
Why is that?
because of family.
Aha, social bubble, weren't expecting that, were you? This is my youngest son. Jude, how old are you?
13.
Yeah, think about that, didn't you?
Yeah.
Why?
My birthday was just
A few days ago. So he actually bought this property when he was 12. He's now a teenager. Jude, you pleased with how this house has turned out?
yeah,
How did it look when you bought it?
not very good.
Not very good. The thing I remember most was a big white dog, probably bigger than you.
Yeah.
It's called Merlin. So the guy that bought it, I believe, for £40,000, and he said, I'm going to do it up, and then 3 years later he still hadn't, so he sold it to Jude. How much did you buy it for?
Oh, I bought it for 50,000.
£50,000. So, you know, most 12-year-olds have got 50 grand lying around, haven't they? So, did you have 50 grand in the piggy bank? Or?
No.
No. So, where'd you get the 50 grand from?
My granny.
Nice granny, isn't she?
Yeah.
So that's lucky, isn't it? Maybe ask your granny. And if you haven't got a granny, maybe ask somebody else. Or if you've got a nasty granny, maybe ask granddad. I don't know. So anyway, the £50,000, was granny quite pleased that you were going to use it on a property?
Yeah.
12-year-olds can't buy properties. Well, they can actually. Well, they can't get mortgages. Well, that's true. But you didn't actually buy this yourself, did you?
No.
So how did you buy it?
We opened the company and I had to have an adult director to manage over me.
But you can still be a shareholder, can't you?
Yeah.
So there you go. He doesn't technically own the house. He owns a company that owns the house. But that's good enough for me. And you, because you still got all the money. Okay, so when you bought it, was it in good condition?
No.
That's an understatement. And hopefully you can see some pictures of just how not good condition it was in when he bought it. How many bedrooms did it have when you bought it?
2.
Okay, now I had a plan, and my plan was to change it to a 3-bed. And obviously you did exactly what your dad told you to do, didn't you?
No.
What did you do?
I made a 4-bed.
Jeez, why?
Because more beds, more money.
More beds, more money. You heard it here first. More beds, more money. But it did cost you more money, didn't it?
No.
No?
It didn't cost me no money.
Okay, the conversion I would have done would have been cheaper than the one you did. Because I probably would have done downstairs what you did, but we'll get to that when we get downstairs. And I think probably rather than this Paul, we should let project manager Paul talk you through what actually went on there and the sort of challenges involved. So what Jude did is spend more money to make it more valuable. I would have turned to a 3-bed, he turned it to a 4-bed. So in terms of choices, I mean, things like this flooring. Why did you choose this flooring?
Because it's hard to damage and looks good.
Hard to damage and looks good. So I think a lot of young, new property investors make the mistake of putting carpets everywhere. And they rapidly learn after their first tenant that tenants are not always respectful of carpets. So pretty much every time they need to change the tenants, they need to change the carpets. So what gave you the idea of wood flooring as opposed to carpets everywhere?
You.
That's lucky, isn't it? So Jude has been seeing us do investment property, well, ever since he was born, because he's 13, and in fact, I was doing this for a quarter of a century before he was even born, so he's probably quite used to it. So, if you don't come from a family of property investors, but you want to get into property investment, your network is your net worth. If you want to take those next steps in property investment, click the link just below this video. Come and spend 2 days with us online. We call it Wealth Through Property. And for so many people, that has been life-changing. Literally life-changing. Okay, so now you've met the owner, who's 13. I'm now going to go and introduce you to the project manager, the other Paul, not me. And I'm going to give you a little fun fact about the other Paul. He is not 13. So, you might be thinking, well, where is he, this not 13-year-old? Turns out he's in the basement, so come down with me. Hello and welcome to the kitchen, and hello Paul.
Hello, Paul.
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine, thanks.
Excellent. So this project, let's just talk about a few of the challenges. Before we even get to the project part, the first challenge of this project is because of lockdown. It was actually supposed to complete in February last year. Now, lockdown then happened, and for one, long story short, the project never actually completed until the September. If we put to one side the fact that it ended up 7 months late for reasons beyond our control, in terms of the project itself, what were the main challenges with the project?
The main challenges with the project, it was basically COVID.
Yeah.
Trying to keep people social distance, just keeping certain trays in at a time, and getting all the materials. That were the biggest logistical challenge.
And because of social distancing and whatever, that probably, I don't know, did that mean the project took longer?
It took longer than
because we couldn't put the amount of bodies in?
Yeah, because you couldn't get too many people in.
Yeah. And I have a view as to what I would have done with this place, and Jude obviously had a different view. Did any of Jude's decisions cause any delays or any extra costs or anything like that?
Yeah, it's a little bit extra for refurbing or changing the cellar. A little bit more expense.
Yeah.
If we were to leave it alone, but I think everything went well.
Yeah, it looks nice. And in terms of the quality of this kitchen, for instance, it's nice tiles. It's all got the chrome switches everywhere.
Yeah, you've got brush chrome. Switches and sockets.
So this is now a 4-bedroom house. So for anyone sort of watching, versus sort of MK 50p plastic things you can get, to put the sort of brushed chrome everywhere, all the light sockets and everything else. Well, for a house this size, how much extra are you talking?
It costs about £300 altogether for the full house.
300 quid? Oh, it's not a lot, really.
Not really, no. It's a lot better finish.
It looks nice, doesn't it?
Than the white one,
Yeah. Okay, and in terms of doing exactly what his dad told him not to do, let's go and get Jude to talk to Paul in the room that had the most money spent on it that I wouldn't have spent. Let's go to Cellars.
Right, so here we are, we stood in what was the cellar. So this is the room that your dad wouldn't have done any work to. So why were you so determined to do the work?
Because adding an extra bedroom would cost extra, but also bring more prices to the houses when you're renting out. So this room was once dark, dirty and damp and disgusting, and actually 2 rooms. But we're going to ask Paul how he turned it into 1 room and why.
Right, so we took this wall out and we had to put a beam in. The reason why you put the beam in is because it was load bearing. So we've got the wall directly above. So if you don't put the beam in, chances are that the wall directly above is going to collapse and you're going to have a world full of problems. Also, we've got a fire escape window, which you need to have for fire eggs. So if there's a fire, you can escape through there to safety. And then we've got tanking. So because we're below the damp proof course, you have issues with damp coming in. So if you want to put any tanking in, which is basically it's a lining that you put on the walls, it's all taped up, it's all sealed. You have to do the floor as well, so you get no water coming through. Otherwise, if you just put plasterboard straight onto bare brick walls, you're going to get some damp coming through within a few weeks, I imagine. So the total cost to do the tanking, take the wall out, do the window, it was about £6,500, which for £6,500 you end up with another room which makes you money.
Okay, so I think this is my favourite room now, as it's making me the most money. But I think we should go back to my dad, who I think is upstairs.
Whoa, how did you get here? Anyway, the wonders of modern technology. What these teenagers get up to, I've no idea. Okay, so you might remember, if you've seen a previous video, you'll have seen Jude in France doing all the numbers. But what we didn't know at that stage, what he didn't know at that stage, was what the final valuation was going to be. So here is the actual mortgage offer from the actual mortgage company. Kent Reliance. How do you feel about the fact that Kent Reliance will allow a child to be a 100% shareholder of a company and get mortgages on a property? What do you reckon?
I think it's absolutely brilliant, it's good, and it can help other children.
Oh, there you go. How many of your schoolmates are currently buying houses?
None of them, but I think I've inspired some.
Yes, I think you have. So, Kent Reliance, you don't have to use Kent Reliance. Jude has used Kent Reliance. So, last week, they did the mortgage evaluation. Now, this was a bit of a disappointment, to be honest, so let's just do the numbers properly. How much did you buy this house for?
50,000.
What was the total refurb altogether?
42,000.
Okay, so the total cost of the project altogether?
92,000.
Good. I'd have had a word with your math teacher if you couldn't do that. So, 92,000 all up, and I've got the bit of paper here, and I'm sure the camera can see it. So as you can see, they've ended up valuing the house at £125,000, which is a bit disappointing because you wanted 140, didn't you?
Yeah.
Because you laid out all this loot and all these expensive sellers and everything on the basis that the more you spend, the more you get back. What do you think now? Still worth it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, determination. So, do the numbers still work is the question. Can you read out that number there? So you've spent £92,000.
Yeah.
All up. How much actual mortgage loan are you getting?
95,000.
£95,156. So he'd hoped for slightly more, but he's essentially getting all of Granny's money back, which is a relief, so you can still see her at Christmas and stuff. And he's getting an extra £3,156 cash back.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I think it's pretty good.
Pretty good. All right. And I've seen this more and more often these days. It used to be you'd get a 25-year mortgage. How's that, sir?
28 year.
So he's getting a 28-year mortgage. And in case you're thinking that's just because he's young and I'm old so I can't get one, I actually got a 28-year mortgage this morning. Not on this, but on a different place. So you put the money in. The wonderful Paul Lupton and the team did the refurb. You got all the money back out. So you've got an extra £3,000 over by the price of the house. But in addition to that, you're also going to put a tenant in it, aren't you?
Yeah.
So how much rent is the tenant paying?
Around 800.
Around £800. Sweet. So let's just have a look at this next one, because this one is going to tell us how much the monthly mortgage payments are. So £800 a month coming in, and we always like to allow 25% for voids, maintenance, all that sort of stuff, don't we? So let's see if you can do this. What is 1/4 of 800?
200.
Ah, that wasn't too slow, was it? That's okay. So he's got to add on 200 quid for, and this is for voids, for maintenance, for insurance, that sort of stuff, letting fees. And how much is your mortgage going to cost you every month?
296.
So should we call it 300 quid?
Yeah.
Or 300 quid. So £200 for costs, £300 for the mortgage means this young man is going to be making £300 a month profit. How much work are you going to have to do to get that £300 a month profit?
Around about nothing.
It's about right, yeah, roughly nothing. And we had a bit of a negotiation with your mum the other dinner time, didn't we?
Yeah.
So what was the result of the negotiation? How much of that profit can you spend every month?
10%.
10%. So he's getting an additional 30 quid pocket money to do whatever. We're going to turn that into games.
Yeah.
Energy drinks.
Yeah.
That sort of stuff, yeah. What are you going to do with the other £270 a month?
Put it into investments.
Investments? Okay, what kind of investments are you thinking about?
Stock or crypto.
Stock or crypto? Wow, that's a couple. So you're going to learn about that next?
Yeah.
Do you know anyone else that's got stocks and shares?
Yeah.
Who?
Yeah.
He's got a Scottish accent, so I'm just translating for you. Okay, so do you know anyone else that's got any crypto?
No.
He's got crypto. Josh, have you got crypto? So do you think you might have a word with him about crypto?
Maybe.
Maybe. Okay, so let's wrap this up, and thank you, Jude. Thank you, Paul, and I will now give this a wrap. Okay, let's break this down in just 60 seconds. Number 1, you create value when you buy. Understand comps, like Jude did. Number 2, you add value when you refurb, even if you don't do what your dad said. I said 3-bed, he said 4-bed, he's still got all his money out. Number 3, be clear on your exit strategy. Jude has now got a buy-to-let mortgage on this place, free house with £3,000 cash back and £300 a month profit. Number 4, hire the experts. How horribly wrong could that have gone downstairs if you didn't know about supporting walls and fire escapes and tanking. Number 5, get yourself educated. Now, the way that you learn is by observing other people, then taking action and having the right network around you. I can give you all 3 of those. Imagine how much you just learned in the last 60 seconds. You want 2 full days of that. It's called Wealth Through Property. Click on the link underneath this video. It's 2 days, it's online, and look forward to seeing you there. Okay, as always, really hope you enjoyed that. Feel free to subscribe, share the link with friends, and all the other wonderful things that this technology allows us to do. As always, you know this by now, you have been wonderful. I have been Paul, and I will see you next time. And you know where I would like to see you? I would love to see you at Wealth Through Property. So what are you waiting for? Go!